Hey, you.
What, me?
Do you suck at video games?
Not really.
Do you suck at MX bikes?
Who are you again?
Do you always blame the bike when you crash?
Kinda, yeah.
Well, today I'm gonna fix that. You're gonna ride every single bike in MX bikes to see which one fits you best.
Kinda busy right now.
Too bad, let's go.
Okay, here we go.
Alright boys, just some base rules. I have to get a clean lap on every single bike. That is 8 categories of bikes and 48 dirt bikes that I have to ride, test, and hopefully cross the finish line successfully. This is the Supercross version of this challenge because I am terrible at Supercross. Anyways boys, we're going to start off with the first category, the classic bikes. We're going to see how they ride. Here we go. First bike on the chopping block is the KX250. This bike has pretty good grip, okay suspension, it handles really well in the whoops. Cornering is alright, but all around is a solid bike. I think I can get a pretty good lap time here. Alright, that wasn't too bad of a first lap. I was like a 124 or something. Now I'm on the RM250 two-stroke. This bike is okay, but I did struggle a bit, leading to a little bit of a slower lap time. Handles pretty well in the whoops, but it's lacking a little bit of power. Oh my god, I just landed that. There's actually no way. I hit the tip one. Well, mistake after mistake led to a 1 minute 33 and 79 seconds. Not bad, but not good. Now, here is a bike that I didn't even get a lap time on because it is so terrible. This is the CR250. This bike sucks. I kept crashing and crashing and crashing. I could not get a grip. This bike gets an X. Well, sticking with the Hondas, this is the 1997 CR250. For some reason, I could not get my flow with this bike. It handled pretty good in the whoops. Other than that, it just felt a little bit slimy with the rear tire, and honestly, the bars in the fender looks pretty stupid. So when I don't have a good looking front fender, I can't really ride well. But I did finish the lap with a 129.9. Not too bad, but not good. Now, before we move on to the second category of bikes, here is the times from the first category. I'm definitely not as fast as I should be. These bikes honestly suck. Alright, staying with the classic poopy slow bikes, this is the CR125. To be honest, I could not get a grip of this bike. I kept crashing, it sucked in the whoops, it could not jump, and it is slow. So, this bike got X's across the board. Alright, kind of the same situation with the KX125. This thing is slow as your grandma with a walker. This thing sucks. It's not really too bad. It's not as bad as the CR125, but it doesn't handle the whoops too well, and it's just a little slow all around. I can't clear certain jumps, so am I going to ride this in Supercross? Hell no. On to the next bike. Oh, this thing has way more power than the KX. This thing is nice. Alright, this is the first classic bike that I actually enjoy riding. This is the RM125. This thing is great. It is light, just like all the other 125s, but this thing actually has power. You can clear triples, you can clear the finish line jump, you can hit basically all the 250 lines on a 125, so, you know, that is nice. This bike is really solid. Does not handle the whoops great at all, but it clears everything, so I did get to put down a solid lap time of 128.32. So far, that's one of the fastest bikes we've had. Alright, switching no gears, these are the electric bikes. We have the Alta and the Stark Varg. First off is the Alta. This bike is super slippery in the rear end, but it does have a lot of power. It struggled a little bit in the corners. Other than that, whoop speed and just all-around jumping was pretty damn good. Surprisingly, it was a pretty clean lap, and it was my fastest lap yet with a 117.55. That's pretty damn good. Alright, time for everyone's favorite e-bike, the Stark Varg. Personally, I don't really like this bike. It is really underpowered in the low end, and it's just not really too good. It's a great bike to look at. I just cannot seem to get a hang of it. It didn't really handle too well in the corners or jumping. Whoops, it did pretty well, but I managed to not even get a clean lap in the 5 laps I did. So, the Stark Varg is going to get a big ol' X. Now, here are the standings for the electric dirt bikes. Not bad at all, but now it's time for the big bikes. time to shift some gears and pass you know who. These are the big bikes, the 450 cc's. You do not want to mess with these things as they will rip your hands right off the handlebars. Anyways, starting off, this is the Beta RX 450. This thing is an absolute beast of a machine. It is super fast, super overpowered, has yet to be patched, and as you can tell, it absolutely rips. It does pretty damn good in the corners. It's alright in the whoops. It could do a little bit better, but the power makes up for it as it clears everything with ease. This bike is super well, and let's see if we can get a good lap time here, boys. Oh my god, that was such a good turn. Oh my god, the triple. Oh my god, the triple. Holy cow. A 115.44. That was such a sick lap. Switching over to the Fantic 450, I actually have only rode this bike about 5 times in my whole MX Bikes career, and I can tell you right now, this thing rips. I'm absolutely in love with the way the Fantic look, how it feels, rides, conquers the whoops, hits jumps, corners, everything. This bike is so dope, and I think I can put one hell of a lap down. Let's keep her on the throttle. Oh man, a 118.91. Still not too bad. The Gas 450 is the next bike. I could not get a grip on this bike. I tried for laps trying to get a clean, fast, good lap, and I just simply could not. It's not too great. I kept crashing, sliding out. It's just not really a good bike for me, so I had to mark it up with an X. Yeah, I can't with this bike. This bike sucks. Alright, now time for the Gas 450. This bike honestly isn't too great. I think it looks really cool, and I gotta give it props because I have a Gas in real life. That's besides the point. This bike is literally the definition of mid. It does okay in everything. The burns, jumps, whoops. It's just an alright bike. So with that being said, I didn't really get to put down a good clean lap, so I ended up with a 117.86. Alright, the final red bike in the big bike class, this is the Honda 450. The bike is actually pretty good, it looks good, rides good, the whoop speed is pretty good, cornering is a little bit slimy. Other than that, jumps, whoops, etc. is pretty well. I think I can get a pretty damn good lap time. Here we go. Alright, talk about underrated. This is the Husqvarna 350. I actually really enjoy this bike and ride it quite often when I'm not making videos. This thing is an absolute ripper in the whoops, corners, jumps, you name it, it's got it. Let's see if we can put down a burner. Alright, a 118.04. Alright, the Husky 450. You would think it would be the exact same as a 350, but apparently it's not. I could not find my consistency on this bike. I kept crashing, flipping over, you name it, I did it, and I ended up with a pretty slow lap time of a 1:30.77. Alright, the KTM 350. This bike is absolutely amazing. It does everything a little bit above average. I do have some experience with this bike on motocross, but no supercross experience. But it handled supercross really well. I feel really fast on this bike, and I think I can put in a solid lap time. Alright, not bad, a 117.82. The KTM 450 is the next bike, and to be honest, I didn't even know that I enjoyed this bike, but this lap time is going to speak for itself. Let's just say, spoiler alert. Yes! Oh my god, that's a new freaking record. A 115.07, I think it said. Let's go. Alright, apparently this is Troy Jan's favorite bike, the banana bike, the Suzuki. Let's see if it's my favorite bike. The Suzuki looks absolutely amazing. I love the way the shroud and front fender look on this bike. They look absolutely pissed off. Sadly, I could not put down a good lap time. I had a little bobble at the end, leading to a slow lap time. But the Suzuki is definitely one of my favorite bikes, but with that crappy lap, I managed to put down a lap of a 136.45. Alright, here is the TM300. This is probably the second time I've ever ridden this bike. I've seen Linz ride it, that's about it. This bike is pretty mid. It actually has some pretty good consistency. I managed to do my lap on the 4th time rather than the 10th. Handles and whoops, pretty okay. Quarter speed is alright. I think I can put down an okay lap here. Let's get it. Alright, with the mid TM out of the way, I managed to get a 118.15. Alright, Triumph time. This is the Ricky Carmichael bike. This bike handled actually really well for me. I managed to stay consistent, fast, and upright the whole time. This bike handled basically everything fantastic. The corner, whoops, jumps, everything had plenty of power to back it up. This bike is absolutely amazing. With basically greasing everything, I managed to put down one of the most solid laps of my career with a 114.46. I was on fire. Alright, the Yamaha 450. I sadly have only bad things to say about this bike. I always ride this bike as a 450 in moto and supercross, but I cannot figure out why this bike is so bad. It's on completely stock settings. This bike kept completely messing me over. I crashed and crashed and crashed and didn't even get to put in a solid lap time. I'm sorry, but the YZ450 sucks and it gets an X. Forgot a bike. This is the TM450. Now, this bike, hands down, sucks. I spent 7 whole minutes trying to get a clean lap, and I could not. It kept sliding out in corners, sliding out in the whoops. It could not really hit jumps. The back end was so slippery. I'm honestly thankful that I don't have to ride this piece of garbage. So with that being said, the TM450 gets X's across the board. Alright, with the biggest category of bikes done, here are the results for the 450s. I had a lot of fantastic lap times, but also a lot of X's. Most of the bikes are pretty damn good, but then some of them are inconsistent. Moving on to the next category, these are the 250 two-strokes. Let's rip. Hey, you. Subscribe. Alright, Gooners, these are the 250 two-strokes. These bikes are supposed to have the exact same power as the 450s. Let's see if they do. First bike is the Fantic 250 two-stroke. I have never ridden this bike, but on my first lap, I can confidently say this bike is pretty damn good. The consistency I have with this bike is second to none. It handles the whoops super great. It's a little bit slow in the corners. Other than that, it can clear every single jump with ease. Looks good, rides good, sounds good. This bike is amazing. With the Fantic being a pretty mid bike, I dropped an alright lap of a 124.08. Not bad, but not too good. On to the next bike. Alright, next 250 is the GasGas 250 two-stroke. This bike is pretty damn good. It has a lot more power than the Fantic. Sounds better, looks a little bit better, but all around is a pretty okay bike. Corners a little bit slower than the Fantic, but the whoop speed and power is there. It's a really great bike, and I managed to put down an alright lap of a 122.87. Husky 250 is the next bike. This bike is absolutely amazing. I managed to put in a solid, fast-ass lap. This bike handles really, really great in the corners. Whoop speed is phenomenal. It handles the jumps really great. Suspension is actually really good for a stock setup. So it is an amazing bike. I actually recommend this bike if you want to just ride it on Supercross. It's really fun, really fast, really flowy, really not ass. Managed to put down a pretty good lap time of a 117.81. Alright, KTM 250 two-stroke. I could not get a grip on this dirt bike. It kept sliding out. I kept crashing and crashing and crashing. This bike is really inconsistent. The KTM 250 is not the bike for me, and it's gonna get a big old X. Talk about a bike I have never even heard of. This is the TM 144cc. 144 cc's. Weird number, I know. This bike actually didn't do too bad. On my first lap, I managed to get my clean lap. That is really rare. This bike is super consistent, not very good in the whoops, has barely, and I mean barely, enough power to get over all these big jumps here on the track, but managed to get a pretty good lap time of a 127.83. Alright, sticking with the light blue, baby blue bikes, this is the TM250 two-stroke. This bike is a little bit quicker than the 144, obviously, but handles about the same. It's pretty mid in the whoops, has plenty enough power to make it over the jumps, but it's just not really my favorite bike. So with all that being said, I managed to get an alright lap of a 122.44. Not really too bad, but not too good. Onto the Yamaha. You know, I'm really glad I'm doing this challenge. I always thought every Yamaha was the meta just because I like Yamahas. I am just completely wrong. The Yamaha 250 stroke is an alright bike, but does not live up to the standards of even the TM 144. This bike is pretty inconsistent, has plenty enough power, but it just sucks with everything. The whoops suck, the corners suck, and the jumps aren't really too great. This bike is pretty mid, and I managed to get a pretty poopy lap time of a 129.68. This bike also sucks. Alright, finally the 252 strokes are done and out of the way. Here are the lap times for those bikes. Not really too bad, but not too good. I'm really excited because we are moving on to the 254 strokes, probably my favorite bike category. Here we go. Alright, time for the 252 strokes. First bike is the Fantic 250. This bike is pretty damn good on motocross, but not really the same with supercross. It struggles a little bit in the tight corners, struggles in the whoops, and is just a little bit underpowered. The Fantic is a great looking bike all around, but I couldn't really drop the fastest lap time just with little minor mistakes. So with that being said, I ended up with a lap time of a 129.08. Not too bad, but on to the Gas Gas. Alright, here is my real life dirt bike. This is the Gas Gas 250. This bike is pretty okay. I love the way it looks, but looks are not everything. This bike actually handles pretty poopy. It is alright in the whoops, and it's pretty damn good at jumping, but other than that, the corner speed, like I said, whoops, are pretty lackluster. So I didn't drop too fast of a lap, but I did drop a lap of a 122.49. Not too bad, but not too good. The Honda 250 is the next bike. This bike is pretty darn good in Supercross. Personally, I just don't really like the way it looks. I think the handlebars look skinny. Other than that, this bike performs pretty well at Supercross. Corners pretty well. The whoop speed is actually really good for a stock bike. Is a little underpowered though, so it makes jumping a little bit difficult. The Honda 250 is a pretty good bike, and I managed to drop a pretty good lap time. Alright, a 121.36. Not too bad of a lap time. Alright, now here's a bike that I really enjoy in Supercross. This is the Husky 250. I have a lot of experience with this bike on tracks such as Glendale, A2, A1, San Diego, you name it. I've ridden this bike on it. This bike has only given me great laps. I am super in love with this bike. The Husky looks really good, handles really great. I literally have no cons to say about this bike, and I think I can put in a pretty good lap time. Alright, a 119.41 on the Husky 250. That was a pretty damn good lap. Here. Alright, next bike is the Kawasaki 250. This was actually my previous real life bike. Sadly, had to get rid of it. That's not the point. The Kawasaki looks absolutely amazing. I love the way this bike looks. But I wish it rode as good as it looked, because this bike is honestly kind of poopy. Pretty damn good in the whoops, but other than that, the corner speed is pretty bad, and the power is pretty lackluster as well. This bike doesn't really handle tight corners or big jumps too great, but I did manage to put in a pretty good lap only on my second attempt. KTM 250 4-stroke is up next. This bike so far has been my best lap. I hit all the marks that I could with this bike. This bike handles super well in the whoops, corners, jumps, you name it. It looks pretty damn good, but I'm gonna ruin your day because the handguard paint is completely flip-flopped. If you look, the handguards are totally weird looking, but this bike is super amazing, handles really well, looks really good, and is all around a great bike. I know KTMs in real life are expensive, but in MX bikes, it's completely free and it's worth it. With this bike, I managed to drop the fastest lap with the 250s of a 118.38. This bike is pretty damn good. Suzuki 250 is the next bike on the chopping block. This bike is the definition of mid. It corners pretty alright, is pretty underpowered in the low end, but actually handles the whoops pretty well. I actually really enjoy this bike. It looks good, rides okay. I would have had a way faster lap if I didn't have this little spill at the end of the lap, but managed to still get an alright lap time of a 125.80. Alright, the TM 250 is up next. This bike absolutely sucks so much. Sweaty wiener. It's insane. I'm not even going to give it any pros or cons. You're just going to watch all the crashes. Done. Alright, sticking with the autistic dirt bikes, this is the Triumph 250. This is basically the TM 250 just reskinned. It handles the whoops way better than the TM, corners way better, but still lacks a little bit of power, and to be honest, I'm pretty inconsistent with it. I had a little spillover at the end of the track yet again, so I managed to come up with a pretty slow lap. Well, the Triumph 250 sucks with a 139.87. Oh boy, here it is, the Yamaha. This is my favorite bike in MX bikes, at least for motocross. Supercross is a completely different game. This bike honestly blows. I could not stop crashing and being not inconsistent. It is so difficult. This bike has plenty of power though, but I just cannot seem to find my rhythm with this bike. So in my 10 laps of trying to get a clean lap, here are all of my crashes. Alright, we struggled a little bit with the 250 4-strokes, but here are the results on the screen. Next category is a 125 2-strokes. Here we go. Alright, after me going basically clinically insane, these are the 125 2-strokes, the slowest bikes out of all of the dirt bikes, so I'm not going to get too much into detail. I'm just going to tell you the lap times and that'll be it. Alright, first bike is the Fantic 125 and I dropped a 130.83. Alright, next bike is the Gas 125. This bike is, again, super slow. Doesn't have enough power to get over anything, and with that, I dropped a lap time of a 133.75. The Husky 125 got a 130.20. KTM got a 143.94. TM 125 got a 133.83. And the Yamaha 125, which is actually a really fast, good 125, got a 125.91. With the slowest category out of the way, here are the lap times for the 125s. They were all pretty slow and pretty bad, but we are moving on to the last category, MX3. These bikes range from trail bikes to 500 cc's. Let's go. Here is the Beta 300 2-stroke. This bike is an absolute beast, at least in the whoops. I have never ridden a bike so great in the whoops. It is hands down, stock form is better than an SPX performance setup. I'm not lying to you. This thing eats in the whoops. Other than that, it's pretty poopy. It's pretty slippery in the corners. Has plenty of power because it is a 300. But man, I could not stop crashing with this bike. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the tires or how it looks. I just kept on crashing. Alright, this is the Ronnie Mac bike. This is the CR500. This thing is an absolute unit. The only downside is that it sucks in the corners. This thing has so much power, it is almost unrideable. It feels like it has about 100 horsepower underneath your feet. This thing barks. I set down such a good lap. I kept greasing all the whoops, hitting every jump perfectly. This thing just rips. It is so unbelievably nice. It's such a good bike, and it looks pretty badass. I did have a little mistake back there, but I still managed to drop a fast lap of a 118.31. This bike is amazing. Oh boy, here we go. The KTM 300 two-stroke. This bike is pretty damn poopy. Has plenty of power, actually corners pretty well, and the whoop speed on these bikes for some reason is actually insane. But with all those pros, the only con with this bike was the consistency. I kept having little crashes and very little mistakes with this bike. Could not get a hold of it, and it led to a pretty slow lap of a 134.16. Here is the KTM Dark Knight. This is a KTM with a 500cc motor in it. This thing also eats. This thing has so much power to get you over any jump you could ever want. It corners pretty damn well. It looks really, really, really amazing with all of it being blacked out with some gold accents here and there. This thing is a beast. Yet again, absolutely dominates through every single whoop section you put it through. This thing is so much fun to ride. With this bike being an absolute lady killer, I dropped a 118.73. This thing is so much fun. Alright, princess, here is the TM 300 two-stroke. This thing, surprisingly, is a monster. It corners so well. It has so much power, actually just the right amount of power. This thing is so amazing. Like all these bikes in the category, it also eats. I never really thought I would be a TM guy until I dropped this lap. This was amazing. Alright, with this bike being an absolute unit, I dropped one of the fastest laps of this entire video, a 117.73. This bike frickin' rips. So I guess we just get banger after banger. This is the TM 530. Yes, a 530cc motor in a dirt bike. Kind of weird, I know. Anyways, this bike is also a freaking unit. Corners like no one's business, has so much power, is a 4-stroke. This thing rips, eats through the whoops, eats through the corners, eats through any single jump you're gonna put at it. This thing is amazing. The TM 530 is a certified classic. I dropped a 116.97. This bike is amazing. With some of the final bikes out of the way, here are the results from that last category. With no more bikes and no more categories left to go, I will pop the top 5 fastest laps up on the screen right now. So I guess if I want a good bike to ride in Supercross, I will choose one of these 5 bikes. Ladies and gentlemen, can you do me the biggest favor and hit that like and that subscribe button? This video took me so long to make, probably about 3 months of editing and getting all the footage. It does take a while because I do have a full-time job, but I would love it if you did hit that sub button. Show me some love because I love you. This video was a ton of fun to make. I really enjoyed making it. I really hope you guys enjoyed watching it. And with that, guys, I'll catch you in the next video.